Hey guys, welcome back. This one is part two of Christa. I'm going to tell you guys more information that I'm learning. And obviously, there's a lot that's going to be compelling to learn more. By tomorrow, I should end up being able to have this series done like tomorrow night, but I could have it done tonight just depending on how far I want to go. And depending, like I said, it's going to take a little bit of time to surface everything and figure out what's true. So let's jump into it. If you guys are new here, I just want to end up knowing this has to be adult context only, but just aware there's going to be a lot of different curse. There's going to be a lot of things. There's going to be a lot of things said. We hope that you guys take this stuff in. I know these are masters and disguise of things. So we just hope that you guys take this in. Let's see. So there's a lot to go through, but let's just jump into it. Sorry, bless you guys. I know. All right, so I'm learning more about the prison sentence and what's going on there. Like I said, there's a lot that is going to be through all these videos. Like, we hope that we can get it all done. And the amount of time that we scheduled, we should have it done by tomorrow. But things may change just because of stuff. So what I forgot to say in part one was after she got to prison and she was the first one that reacted, and then she had a friend and she was jealous. Like I said, she was jealous over this boy, over this guy, and one of her friends that was going out, and there's obviously 4 people that are going out. There's only 3 that are coming back in and signing back in to this place. And they ended up, once you sign a permission slip, you're basically there until the 1 year is up, and you constantly are going to end up making difference. The difference about what is right and wrong, she realizes that she was wrong. She shouldn't have took all of her anger out on this one individual that she's been obviously raped and hurt and molested all of her life. And there's a lot that goes into it. So when you end up adding so much of this information, then you start questioning, is this a real person? Is this somebody that knows that they've done something wrong? She guarantees that she's done something wrong, that she's been treated like a dog. She's been treated and she's been kicked down to the ground. She's been to the point where she took all of the anger that somebody else and family members have done. Now, then with all of this, she went in and she admitted to everything, and they thought, okay, maybe this will change her life. With her trying to become a lesbian and have sex with somebody else in the jail cell before one of her in 2000, she was perfectly fine. Everything seemed to get better. And just knowing that she was in there for over 12 years at the point of their confession, and there was more confessions. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of people here. With the co-owner and the person that was behind the closed doors of her, she was believing that because of this boyfriend and this relationship, she got jealous because of what happened. They could have figured out they could have said, hey, we're sorry. We did this. We were not going to say anything. I don't know what's going on. And eventually she would have had scars all over her body, and they probably would have been straight to the hospital for her if they didn't hit some certain boundaries in her head. Now, they were using what you call a pizza cutter and all sorts of questions, right? It was a question mark. So then with entering her plea with a year later, so it took a year before her first court case and stuff, guaranteed that there was a plus line to this, and there was something else that was dragging her to the point, right? Her mother is probably abusive and drinking so much, and that's what caused her for the first scene to happen. With her being able to have these mental illnesses and maybe a double face, two-face, whatever, people start questioning anybody in their neighborhood, and it took a little over 24 hours. They realized somebody in the neighborhood and did this, and they did this on purpose. They didn't do this just because it was a mistake. A mistake means you've done it, you realize, you've apologized, the person is alive, and you're never going to do it again. Maybe she's tried to be a serial killer or a murderer before, and this time it just got to her. She was obviously walking down. There's obviously 3 different tunnels before they get to the 45-minute mark. And then after the 45-minute mark, they could have just said, you know what, we're sorry for what we did. But she didn't. She took matters into, now it was 3 people that were harassing her. 3 people that were harassing this one person that, okay, maybe if this person would have apologized before this day, and it was the second day she gets onto campus or something, that just kind of brought her together to where it was like, you know what, she's going to make this act. She goes out and kills this person with all sorts of knives. The man that is being accused, he has life in prison for everything that went on. And again, these are younger than 17 years old. So because he was 17, they could have ended up putting him in certain questions. Because she was 18 and she was probably 19 or something under the lines, there's a lot of question marks, right? Why would someone go to prison and waste out all of their energy on two more fights? Well, people are going to go out of their way anyways, because the circumstances that are going to get to that point, you have to be under drugs. It's guaranteed. You're not just going to end up doing drugs or alcohol. You're guaranteed you're under a substance that is trying to be demonic. With her inviting her, it got them to the point where this was already set up. And after they said they're going to kill this person and a bunch of wrong questions, why did they do this? I guarantee that there is a plus line to this, but there's guaranteed that she did something wrong. With a person doing wrong in society, we've all messed up. We've all done things. We've all overachieved. We've put all of our weight into certain people. So what's going to cost this? It's going to cost her life. People think it's okay to kill people because they're going out and killing someone. The government doesn't understand sometimes, right? Or this police officer could have took matters into their own hand and said, you know what, Christa, I don't know, and I do not believe you. They could have said that and just, okay, stamp, whatever, and now you have somebody that's dead. Because Christa did this worship thing before, it drew to her, and it drew to her attention that there might be something better. And because they're in separate prisons, this is the first time since 1848 or 49, somewhere in that range, was the first time that they actually had somebody on death row, and that person actually died. Here we are 30 years later, and not a single thing goes by, right? She is being treated like more than a child. She's being treated like a dog, like, come here, little boy, and like putting on a leash and dragging this person all over town in this prison cell that she's in one cage to another. And she doesn't obviously know if it's going to be okay, right? The circumstances that we all face is because of the sin nature called lust. And lust can get us in so much trouble. Because she had fantasies about this stuff, and since she had dreams about going out and hurting this person, it got to the point where it was time to turn the page. It was time to say, you know what, goodbye to regular life for her. And she ended up going further and further. The more that you talk about this person, the more that you dig deeper into these different crimes that people are going to admit, people are going to do this under the substance of some kind of drug, which this one guaranteed it was weed, which is most likely marijuana, which is another substance that people are going to go out of their way. Why should I block people out, right? They could have just went and smoked a joint at the gas station, and that would have been fine. But it got to the point where it was more aggressive and it was more challenging for this person. And now that because there's 3 people that are getting in so much trouble, should they still continue this, right? It's one thing to make the bad mistake and you forget about it and you leave the town. It's another thing when you messed up and you don't know if you're ever going to end up finding the day of life. With these people comes a lot of side effects. You can take your anger out on your family and people are going to end up wondering, why did you do that? Why are you getting mad? You can take it out on your friends. You can take it out on a doctor or a therapist. Just humble, right? But see, the DNA did not match the person that they said, right? If TAY ended up doing this, then why are people end up getting mad, right? The courts are just going to be courts. I remember a time when I was in court and I felt very confused, only for a matter of 3 minutes. When that 3 minutes, I didn't know if I was doing something right or wrong, right? This person does not deserve to go to prison, but she put herself there, right? The family could have said, I love you and I miss you and I want to be a part of your life, but never was. Or they were parents, but coming from West Virginia to Tennessee, it challenges people's brains. You can say, yeah, this is on, and he's going on and on and on and on about a bunch of nonsense that isn't real, but it is, right? In 1994, there was something different. That year just seemed to be everybody wanted to go psycho, right? And then you get to early 2000, and then you have all this stuff, and you wonder, why didn't this happen? Why did 9/11 happen? We don't know, because there was a lot of things. But if you talk about certain subjects, you can get booted. And when you get booted off, it's just a matter of time, right? She did this on purpose. She doesn't want to feel bad anymore. And so even keeping her in prison is not the thing that she wants to do. Even killing this certain person is not going to make anybody satisfying. So is it okay for a judge to say, yeah, we're having the death penalty, and then 35, 50 years later, not a single thing went by? It's like it never even happened. Well, all they have to do is stamp it and say, have a great day, and let them sit and rot in there and realize she didn't have to end up going and having sex with another woman in here. But she did, because it was fun. And taking advantage of people, it's not fun to do that, right? If she was traumatized because of all this mess at a young age, and then it got to her at 15, 16 years old, and then all this rage just came up within the next 3 or 4 years later, it kind of messes you up. But if I've done something wrong and I'm not ready to confess to something, then what am I doing? What is the purpose of living if all we're going to do is be sentenced to death every single time? Or be sent to a prison cell knowing that 25 years is almost up within the next 5 years, it's all up. So she should be old enough by then to realize that this would never happen if she does not make a single, maybe we should go out and take a smoke break. Maybe if she wasn't jealous, it wouldn't happen. But see, certain situations and circumstances are going to fall. When you end up facing the death penalty, you have nothing to lose, right? You have your life to end up to lose. You have people that love you. And now she's 40, 48 years old, and you're wondering, is this still something? Is this alive? Are you capable of taking care of yourself? And obviously she says that she's taken matters into her hands. She's been saying that she's boasting about certain things. And then she brings it back to the point where she didn't want to die. She wanted to try to reschedule things. So when they ended up stamping and they said, okay, and now she's thanking the judge constantly. And you wonder, what is going on in this person's life? All you want to do is be happy. And here you are, not boasting, but being like in tears that you're saying thank you, that they're being justful, that they're being happy. But see, Tennessee and anywhere on the east is going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot, right? If you remember, there's a lot of people that are out there, right? But a lot of these things happen at a young age to family members and so on from there. So they think, okay, I'll just go after this. I'll puff myself up with pride and nothing's going to happen. And the moment you do that, you most likely are going to either lose your control of your mind or you're going insane. And I'm not saying, she's not saying that she's crazy, because the doctor obviously diagnosed her with nothing. She's normal. But with that reaction of saying I should go in for the kill and I should do it again, it's gonna get under your skin. Why? Why are we going against someone else's word? Right? The more things you watch about these people that are going out and being on 48 and 24 hours, whatever, you start questioning your whole entire perspective. And when you do this, it's going to get out of hand. And the moment that you don't get it out of your hands, that's when you never give in to your desires, right? There's times that I want to desire myself to just have a beer. But if I know the consequences that would happen from that, yeah, it's cool to have a beer if you know that you can handle it. I can handle it, but it's not guaranteed what's going to happen after. I may end up lecturing people and getting mad and knowing that I don't have to sit here alone, or I don't have to sit in that jail cell or prison cell forever, knowing that, yes, after 25 years, they should be able to let people go. But if you're sitting there and you wonder, is it fine? Should I write a letter to them? And when you don't do that, you start realizing, I don't need to choke someone in a prison cell. I don't need to kill someone. I just did something wrong. Right? But if the results said, nope, she didn't do anything wrong, and everybody and she disappears and leaves the state and goes back home and sees her mother or whatever, then that might be a little bit different story, where now she's in West Virginia or going back home, wherever that is, and you start, okay, then people think they can get away with it. So I'll just go out of my way and murder whatever, or take this person under hostage and I'll get away. What you're doing is you're putting more people in jeopardy by running from one town to another. And I can tell you that there's a lot of people that are going to do this. She walks home. They walked out there just normally, figuring out that she didn't even have to go. She could have said, I'm staying here, and she could have went to sleep, and all of this would have never happened. But there would have been one person. And now that you have 3 people that are involved because of one person's death, now you wonder. One of them get off easy and only had 25 sentence. The other one's in life for prison, and this one is just a matter of who is this. Why do I have to say something? So now she wants to spend the rest of her life behind bars for maybe the next 60 years because of what happened in 2002 and then 2005. She keeps changing her mind on everything. In a matter of time, here we are 40 years later, and not a single thing has been done. She keeps saying that she wants to die, then she keeps saying she doesn't want to die, and now it's just an ongoing battle. Here we are at 29 years, and you're wondering, 29 years, after 29 years, they would have ended up figuring this out. 3 weeks. She had 3 weeks before her execution. And here she is now 29 years later, and not a single thing has changed. Things are going to change because you end up putting the motive there, right? People are going to speak to you and say, no matter what, why should I go out of my way and accuse someone when I've done this so long? I've done this so long. I've accused everybody in my life, and not a single thing has changed. Maybe I should try to be the good guy or to be the good girl, whatever. But if you keep going on and on about this, your mind is going to change by the years. So by the time that she's almost 50 years old, she may appear and say, you know what, never mind, I don't want to do this. But even if she spent 60 years in jail, right, that's 12 years. So that's a total of 41 years being behind bars, and maybe that happens. But nothing has changed. Her mother has prayed for her. Her mother had her last hug and said, "Holy crap," whatever, and said some very inappropriate stuff. I'm hyped up. Maybe I should go through this. Maybe I shouldn't go through this. But by the time that this comes to an all they're doing is trying to lead this on. Right? When you talk to a lawyer, you wonder, okay, is my lawyer going to help me? I didn't know anything about this guy. And he shows up the first day and we're questioning, should we even have this? Well, when they figured out that I had a disabled mind, they said, you know what? Maybe this is stupid. Maybe this is something he feels guilt and he knows he's never going to do it again. So then recently there was a crime, right? There was something that just led me to believe that people are out to get me. But I don't want that to happen for people, but people are going out of their ways constantly. I can say, you know what, I'm gonna go make a change. And by the time that they change, they're 60, 70 years old and they wonder, okay, well, what happened to brother so? What happened to Bob? Well, Bob does not hear because of what he did. And by the time that you get on and you wonder why. I do not want to feel guilty anymore, right? So she doesn't want to feel guilty for things that are going on. By the time that you even come to the knowledge of knowing who this person is, you're old enough to know what's right and wrong. She knows what's right and wrong. And I'm not saying that this is a bad thing to realize that you're wrong. But when you keep changing your mind on every single day, then you start wondering, am I doing enough? Have I loved my family enough? Have I took care of my friends enough? Have I took care of my situation so I can live a little bit longer? She may have lived to end up being 100 years old, but she's going to die eventually, and that's just a matter of time, right? But if she's doing drugs and she's constantly doing stuff, it's going to cause her to react. It's going to cause someone to react to you when you keep changing your mind. 24 years ago, she changed her mind. She had 3 weeks to live, and you wonder, is this it? With her mother praying for her so much, with her mother praying at the deep side, wondering that she jumps in this lake, and you wonder, is there anything at the bottom of this lake? Is there anything at the bottom of prison? Death. Guaranteed that you can say, yeah, I don't really like him. I don't really like her. So then stay away from her. You don't need to give a flying beep about beeps. You don't need to go out of your way and hurt people. Right? If I'm feeling pressured and I go out of my way and say, you know what, this is more important. Sex is more important than living, then that's what's going to be happening. That becomes your identity. Death becomes your identity when that is. When you talk about sex, when you talk about drugs, when you talk about a doctor or a therapist, that becomes your identity, and you wonder why people don't trust people. I don't trust myself to go outside. but I'm willing to make a sacrifice, right? I'm willing to make my time. I'm willing to take this time seriously and say, you know what? If I have 100 years on this earth, then okay. If I die tomorrow, then okay. At least I've helped out 3,500 people in the world. But those people are more capable of learning what right is wrong is. But it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time that, okay, maybe they never get to it. Maybe this is not the centerpiece of killing someone. Maybe there is grace. Maybe there is somebody that wants this. But if I'm a sinner and I've done something wrong and I realize I need God, I need to go out of my way and say, you know what? I'm willing to give up on all the cigarettes and smoking. But I'm not willing to say I'm willing to die for those 3,500 people that believe in me. If I'm not willing to die, then what's the purpose of living? The purpose of living is so then you make better decisions. It's so you help somebody. It's so you process your emotions. And not everybody's going to get that way. If I'm willing to lie to somebody so many times and I say I'm willing to end up whatever my truth is, whatever the motive, whatever the joint was, whatever this was, it caused her to react. And with her reacting, it cost her her life. Maybe it's not a death sentence. Maybe she's just in there for life. And schedule, which is very empty because there's nothing going on. But I'm going to lie and I'm going to die. I'm going to lie and I'm going to die. Eventually, we're all going to die. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take. Some will take longer. Some is going to end up taking for a long period of time. Some are going to take short. Some take drugs at a young age because they're like, hey, I want to end up acting like Lil Wayne, or I want to act like Snoop Dogg, or I want to act like Wiz Khalifa or Eminem, because Eminem ended up having a situation, right? When you end up having this go on, him overdosing on pills because he was depressed in 2005. He had to reinvent himself. Like, there was a lot of things and a lot of pressure. Like, okay, fine. I may not be the smartest guy ever. I may be the weakest. But at the end of the day, if I'm dying, I'm going to die for Christ. I'm going to die for somebody that I believe in. I'm going to die for something that I know is true. And that's what she's doing. She's dying because she says, is it okay? And a lot of people all over the globe are starting to care, like, is the death penalty, it was 150 years from the time that they said, from 2007, this is ongoing. Here we are almost 30 years later. But when you constantly end up battling your sins, when you're constantly battling to be better, and all you can see is these dirty walls that are 8 by 6'15", 8 by 6'15" across, 8 and 15 across. You wonder, do I want to spend the rest of my years in this? Maybe the death penalty eventually goes away for every single state. Maybe they end up getting to a point where, okay, maybe that's not going to do any better. Just having them rot in jail or prison is going to be more important, right? Because at least you get to hear people. And there's going to be a lot of interviews after she goes, if she ever goes, which most likely is not going to ever happen. The way that this life is, everybody is turning into a killer. You can be pushed to be anything, right? Well, she was pushed to kill this certain person, and now she doesn't know what's going on. She's being treated like a dog outside. She goes to the workout gym. She's in chains. Imagine being let go of these chains and following Christ and knowing that Christ is the only reason why we're even here. We're not here to follow our depression. We're not here to follow our instincts. We're not here to follow our emotions. We're here to follow Christ. And until people are ready to do stuff, we're going to be misread, right? If people are being treated like a dog every single hour of the day, and you wonder, have you been treated that way? Well, there's people that need help. And she's one of the people that need help in this world. A few of these people have died because they believe stuff. And a few of them fell apart from Christ. They fell into a sinful nature. They think killing people is going to bring happiness. But I'm not here to promote going out and killing people. I'm here to promote that people are living in sinful nature. And if the death penalty goes away, then that means she's never going to be able to see her nephews and nieces. It's getting to the point where now people have to get involved. Why is this how going on? Because people do not give two rats peace. I want to be peaced and quiet in here. I don't want to have to end up going outside. I don't want to have to sit and stare, right? Towards the end of a position in this life, people realize, okay, I killed one person, so it's going to be fine. And then you wonder why they get away with so many things, right? If you talk about all these different serial killers that are actually going out and hurting emotionally and being a murderer, everybody's shifting to that or doing drugs and overdosing. And then they wonder why they can't breathe. They wonder why they have asthma. They wonder why this is not going to happen again. I've done something wrong. They realize she's wrong, and we'll have more information later on tomorrow. So we hope that you guys stay in tune, because there's a lot of information about this certain individual that I'm trying to speak up and do something as much as I can. It gives me time because I understand their story, because there's people in my life that have done this. There's people that have turned away from me and said, you know what? It's more important to follow the drugs in their life. It's more important to follow going to jail, right? I'm not going to deny I have been there. I'm not going to deny that things are going to end up being said. But if you follow your desires get you in trouble. And it's a matter of time. People are going to say things. People are going to do things. And if there's even more information, well, fine. I've done everything I can to help somebody out. At least I was happy enough to do something right on this earth for once. And following Jesus is one of those things that I need to do. And to final this out, to get to the point, is she can be very loving, and then one day she switches her brain to be very offensive and evulsive, right? When you bring all of your anger out and you think that somebody is bad just because they're traumatized and they don't know how to deal with it, it doesn't mean to go to murder. It doesn't mean to go to somewhere else. But there's a certain state of mind that people are going to fall into, right? This sin pattern that we live in, we are living for the wrongdoing. I'm not here to live for prison. I'm here to live for Christ because I know that I am a sinner and I've done something wrong. Okay, I know that I've messed up. I know that I have mistakes. I've been in jail. I've been all over. I've been in court before, and I know the emotions of other people because there's so much information now because of the Google and internet. Ever since the mid early 90s, internet's been active, right? Now you have smartphones. Now you have devices that you can actually smoke and do this. But it's going to be very difficult for some people in this world. I hope that everybody have a God bless you, everybody, and take care of yourself. Good morning and good evening to everybody. We'll have more videos added to this tomorrow, and we hope that everything works out. God bless everybody and take care.